You will never guess what we're gonna make today. Actually, maybe you will. My name's Brigham, and today on the Friday Forge, we're going to make leather patches again for a hat.
Let me fly towards my hands, towards my hands.
If you haven't seen our other leather patch videos, they'll be in the description or maybe in the card thing that you can put at the top of the screen. Go check those out because I'm not going to go through everything that I went through in those. You might be able to tell this hat is pretty dusty because it's been sitting on top of my dresser for forever. I've been meaning to make a hat for the company with our company logo on it. I'm finally gonna do that, and you get to come along. Okay, we're in Silhouette Studio. This is the program that I like to use just because I'm familiar with it. We have a vinyl cutter that my wife has had for a long time. We got really familiar with the software that it uses, and it's able to do all the things that we need for our laser cutter too in terms of designing. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. So it's got this cool function where you can trace a picture. This is just a JPEG. Oh my gosh. What the freak is going on? Okay, let's try that again. We're gonna make this smaller so it's a little easier to work with. Now we're gonna use the trace tool. Basically, you can trace any image and it'll do weird things like that. So this is a PNG file. Let's try our trace function. Click trace, you can pull the image out, and now we have lines of our file. So just so it's easier to see, I'm gonna do the fill color as black. And I want this patch to be a circle, and I want it to be 2.5 inches. We gotta make this fit inside of it. You can select both. There's this cool button up at the top here that is center. It centers the selected objects on each other. And I think the other thing that I want to add is just a small ring on the inside, and you do that with one of these, the offset tool. I'm going to do an internal offset, and I'm just going to set it to something like that. And I want this internal ring to be scored. With the Glowforge, when you import the SVG file into the Glowforge software, it's the color of your lines that matter. So this one I'm going to make purple for scoring. The outside line I'm going to make red for cutting, and then this inside line I'm going to make blue for engraving. That way, when we save this as an SVG and import it into the Glowforge, we can then manipulate each of these different components separately. You want to save it as SVG. Okay, now we can go into our Glowforge software, hit upload, find your file. Okay, I'm using some leather that we've already used. You can see for some other patches, see the other videos and you'll see those patches. But we've got some space left over. I'm hoping to do 2 patches. We're gonna make 2 hats, one for me, one for Greg. Hopefully that's enough space. If not, we'll just make a hat for me. I always like to center my piece underneath the camera as best I can, because we've found that on a Glowforge anyway, the more centered it is on the camera, the more accurate it will be in the software when you go to place your piece. By the way, if you are looking at getting a Glowforge, use our referral code in the description. It gives you a discount on your buy, on your purchase, and then it also gives us a kickback, which is always nice. All right. Now it's just a matter of putting it on. Go up here, select our material. For this leather specifically, I just choose the thick natural leather, and we'll set this one to engrave. Let's do the draft. It doesn't need to be super thick, or super deep I should say. And this inner circle we're gonna set to score. The outer circle is set to cut. I like to put cut as the last piece because you notice I put down these pegs that holds the leather flat, and if it cuts first, then the leather can, if it's not completely flat in and of itself, it'll like bend where it wants to bend as soon as you cut it. So if you save the cutting for last, it allows it to engrave and to score on a flat piece, and then when you cut it, it doesn't matter if it bends at all. Let's see, is there a way we could get one for Gregory? Copy paste. Nope, sorry Greg. And that's ready to go. Oh, only 3.5 minutes. Awesome. That's looking pretty cool, but I think that I did the wrong resolution. I'm gonna leave it in there, even though you can see it's kind of popped up a little bit. It should be fine for engraving though. I'm going to just up the LPI and maybe up the power too, because you can see on the word the, and on even Friday, it's pretty faint. So I'll up the power, up the LPI, the lines per inch, so it'll be a little higher resolution. You can tell there was a lot more burning on that one, but it's a lot more defined. I like it. I like it. All right, so my plan was, just to try something new, was to put Velcro on the hat and then Velcro on the back of the patch. That way, if you ever wanted to wash the hat without having to worry about damaging the leather, you could just peel the leather off and wash the hat. Or another thing would be, if you wanted to make more patches, you could just take a patch off and put a new patch on if you wanted to have something totally different. But I don't have the Velcro that I thought I had, so I don't want to wait until I get more stuff, so I'm just going to put this on the old-fashioned way with contact cement after I dust this hat off, of course. So what I'm doing next is making the template of where I need to put the contact cement on the hat. I'm sticking it to parchment paper because that way it should hypothetically peel away good. Now I'll trace this thing and cut it out. I think that'll work. Doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be good enough. Good enough. That should work. I like to use just a paint can to hold the hat, and I'm going to use this contact cement. I've never used this Weldwood brand for this before. I've only ever used this for like wood veneer, but I used Barge before, and I just figure that they gotta probably all be pretty similar. So I think it'll be just fine. I like to make sure that my brush strokes are away from the edge instead of coming from the inside out and potentially pushing it underneath the masking tape. I'm coming from the outside in. This stuff seems to be a little more liquid than the Barge, so who knows what's gonna happen. All right, now we let that dry, probably like 15 minutes, and then we'll be able to stick that to that. Actually, let's go ahead and peel this off right now. Now we wait for it to dry. Off camera, I went ahead and did another coat because it really soaked in a lot to the hat and it just seemed like it needed another coat. But now it is dry, meaning that you touch it and it's tacky. So all you have to do now is stick the two pieces together. And hope that it is not twisted at all. Probably is. Really, I should have marked the center on the front here so that I could line it up with the line of the hat. But I think I did all right. Just needs a lot of pressure to make sure it's really stuck down. All right. One thing that I forgot that I usually do before this point is peel off the masking and then put a seal coat on the leather just to protect it from wear. But I don't think I'm going to do that. I want to experiment with this one and see how well it lasts without that finisher. So next I'm just going to peel off the masking. Well, that was a fun time. I really liked the way it came out. Thanks for sticking around and watching the video, and if you liked it, then like the video, and we'll see you in the next one. What do you think?
No, it's good.